Hi, I'm Eleanor from Refuge Design Workshop. In these videos, I invite you to see spaces through a designer's lens, to notice the details and choices that make a space not just beautiful, but truly livable. Today, we're challenging everything we thought we knew about small spaces. Forget dainty furniture and petite fixtures, we're exploring the delightfully counterintuitive world of maximize to maximize, where oversized elements actually make tiny rooms sing. Let's start with this bathroom from Restories, a farm stay lodging that clearly has some serious design chops. Look at this massive tub, utterly dominating what is clearly a compact bathroom. The sink, too, it's so big that it can't help but photobomb this photographer's angle. It's barely fitting in the space, but it does fit. So, does it feel claustrophobic? I don't think so. The oversized tub becomes the entire point of the room. You're not going to try to squeeze in other activities here. You're just creating this temple to the soak. Restories, they call this in their caption, maximize to maximize. That's their coinage, and they're deliberately choosing statement pieces over space-saving solutions. They suggest we think again about the old rule book that says shrink everything down when you have a small space. And looking at this, I'm inclined to agree. That sculptural sink isn't just functional, it's another sculptural element. It's a piece of art that you happen to wash your hands in. And who doesn't want a big sink with space to put all your little toiletries around? Now let's have a look at this enormous bed in a tiny room. This is in the El Dorado Hotel in Paris. It's a giant bed. There's hardly any room to shimmy around the edges. You really have to sidestep in there. I love how the bedspread and the walls match. I wish they had done the ceiling, but I get it. Maybe they were worried it would feel too enclosed, like too much of a tomb. I think the immersion is great, and they should have just gone all the way. Because you're just sleeping here. There's nothing else going on. I mean, maybe there is, depending on who you're with. At the same time, here's where I really start to wonder about the daily life versus this destination design idea. So in a hotel, squeezing past the bed to reach the window, that's part of the charm, a quirky story to tell. But at home, when you're rushing to get dressed or you're making the bed for the 100th time and your back is stiff, does the charm still hold, or does this become what my mom would say, a bit much? This basement sink might be my favorite example, to be honest. So this is a utility sink in a historic home. I can tell it's the basement because the window behind the sink is a little high. You have to actually look up to look out. So it's a huge sink in a relatively low ceiling kind of small space. It's a laughably low ceiling. You probably can touch it if you're standing at that sink. There's also something really functional about this. I have a love of big sinks. I will just confess this. I have a big sink in my kitchen. I went through this whole double inspection process because the inspector was worried that it was too heavy for the brackets under the countertop. He made fun of me, and he made fun of me, the inspector, for choosing this sink. I happened to be coming home from walking my dog, who was covered in mud, and I was like, well, it's gonna work great right now because I'm putting my muddy dog right into this sink. If the oversized scale is really gonna serve, don't be deterred by the smallness of your space. And frankly, the size of it adds a level of whimsy. I think it's really fun. It just really kind of tickles me. Someone's like, nope, I'm just gonna put a big sink in here. So this is about being selective. And, an oversized element can bring great joy, which is a hilarious thing to say, but I'm not going to dwell on it. So, but if you're in a small, tiny reading nook and you have a giant armchair, that's going to feel really nice. What these spaces teach us is that small rooms don't always need small solutions. Sometimes committing fully to one glorious, oversized element creates more impact than, say, a dozen sensibly sized pieces. The key is choosing what deserves that spotlight moment in the space and in your life. I'm curious, are you team maximize to maximize, or does the thought of squeezing around your slightly too big bed every morning fill you with dread? Let me know in the comments. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another closer look at spaces that break the rules beautifully. I share more design, insights, and details at my Substack, which you can subscribe to and read for free, linked below. Until then, maybe measure that tiny bathroom one more time. You might just have room for that soaking tub after all. What these spaces teach us is that small rooms don't always need small solutions. Sometimes committing fully to one glorious oversized element creates more impact, even in more... God. I don't know.